Welcome everyone to the Money Channel. My name is Jacqueline. I'm here to help you develop your money channel. And if you're watching this, special thanks to you for being one of the first people to support the Money Channel and sign up for this service, be a part of my community in this way, receive consistent content from me. I really appreciate it. And I'm super excited to take this step in evolved abundance with you and an evolved abundance consciousness with you. So our topic today is talking about overflow, holding the overflow energy, and how this is like juxtaposed to, I don't know if that's the right word, but how it's contrasted to just enough. Overflow and just enough are these two really similar energies that are so subtle that we can really only see them when we're in a place of having our basic needs met by money, right? And what we're doing here and what we're doing in this work and creating a connection with our money channel is we're creating a direct connection to money and a direct connection to our confidence and our ability to always bring in money. And what that actually allows us to do is have the freedom to not think about money as much as most people might need to think about money. That allows us the privilege of not having to work as hard as other people have to work in order to receive the same amount of money, right? And so while we're doing this work, there's going to be so many layers and layers of things that come up around the predominant paradigm on the planet around money. And part of this is really being able to discern these really subtle things that we might not have even thought about like 5 or 10 years ago, right? We might look back and go like, oh, just enough was what I was aiming for. I didn't even think about overflow because I just was going to be happy with just having my bills paid, right? So like there's so many new energies we get to bring in. And really what this is developing our discernment between these energies and these subtle thoughts and feelings that we have with money so that we can clear them up and we can make space. And the less things we have clogging our money channel, the less pent-up emotions and pent-up energies we have clogging our money channel, the easier money actually shows up for us. And this is, again, a process that is done over time. You get more confident with it. This is like the manifesting muscle, right? Like first you manifest $10 and then you manifest $100,000. Like this idea of like we're trying this energy on and we're building up our own confidence to it, right? And that's not to say quantum leaps can't happen to anybody at any time. I've experienced several myself. If you're familiar with my journey, my fiance and I have actually manifested over $200,000 through the lottery. This was about 5 or 6 years ago. Within a 9-month span, we had hit $200,000 prizes off of scratch tickets. So, and that's in addition to, our other fun wins that we've had. So, I've experienced going from having a couple $100s in my bank account, not knowing how I was going to pay my bills the next month, paying one credit card with another credit card, right? Being stuck in constant financial scarcity. I've experienced that. And then I've experienced the energetic shift that needed to happen in me to go from that place to feeling abundant with only having a couple $100s and being in this shitty financial situation, moving into experiencing receiving $100,000, $70,000 after taxes, basically overnight, right? Going from the beginning of the month, June 1st, being like, okay, I only have 1 month of bill money left. Don't know how I'm going to pay rent in July, to, oh, we have all this cash in our bank account now. Now we're going shopping. Now we're booking a trip to Cabo, right? So quantum leaps can happen, but what's most likely, what I got caught up in for a long time, was staying stuck in that mentality of just like pushing through the quantum leap and just waiting for the quantum leap when I should have been or could have been, or in another timeline, I would have still been taking gradual steps to, excuse me, build up build up my confidence with larger and larger and larger numbers rather than just expecting that same thing to happen again, if that makes sense. And it did happen. It did happen again. It happened for the second time 9 months later. So, that really only affirmed my belief in quantum leaps. The point being that you don't have to stay stuck in just waiting for that to happen. You can start taking smaller steps towards your larger goal, especially if it's a financial goal. There's so much action that can be taken. The action is just on a platter waiting for us to pick the action. But regardless of what we pick, it is going to still move us. It's going to move us forward towards our goal eventually, right? And actually what it does is it creates that space for the quantum leap to show up because there is momentum in a certain area. So the quantum leap or the wheel of fortune or whatever can just simply pick up on the momentum that we already have going. So a lot of us are used to staying in this energy of just enough because just enough is what felt so good for so long. Just enough is everything is taken care of. Just enough is safe. And if you have a background where you have a risky relationship with money, or your relationship with money has been really hot and cold, it hasn't always been there for you, you're angry at it, you felt all these different emotions at it, then just enough feels really good. Why would you want to leave that? Why would you want to risk something that was so comfortable for the risky potential that you might be disappointed again? You might not get what you want. So we stay in just enough because it allows us to prolong the fulfillment of our desires, which is our safer option. That's our safer option, is prolonging the fulfillment of our desires, because then we still have something to look forward to, right? We still have something we're really working towards and we're really striving towards. And I think a lot of us in the back of our head, we're afraid that if all of our material desires were instantly met at this time, because we are used to longing for it. We're used to the feeling of longing and striving. And that's what just enough fulfills, right? We have to keep going. We have to keep the ball moving. Whew. So what would it mean for you to fully expand into your desire? What would it mean for you to actually ask yourself what you want? And actually believe and picture yourself in these scenarios where you are having what you're wanting. Because another thing that happens really often is people play small with their desires because that feels safer too. So they do start taking these incremental steps towards fulfilling their goal, but their goal is so minimal compared to what they could be asking for that they never really still feel satisfied. They feel like there's just resistance or pent up energy there, right? And so what I mean by taking bite-sized steps or smaller steps towards feeling the feeling of overflow, the cup flowing over with abundance rather than just, and actually being able to hold more money rather than just enough, is that your income and the amount of money that you are holding usually is going to increase incrementally. So while you might be journaling and you might be manifesting and you might be setting the timeline for these exponential desires, you're still holding yourself accountable to taking the action steps that are going to lead you eventually to that goal, right? And I think people get also a little wrapped up in setting goals around their business. So let's break this down even further, right? I could have sat there in 2017, 2018. Well, I did sit there and do this and journal about 5-figure months and $10,000 months in my business and all that kind of stuff, but then never truly created the plan for me to get there, right? Never truly connected the dots of the actions that need to be taken and what needs to happen to actually get there. Eventually, I got around to doing that, right? But what some people do is they stay stuck in the desire, and then that desire ends up feeling like a burden. It ends up feeling like something that's never coming. You're prolonging your own fulfillment of your desire because it feels scary to start taking that action towards it. The safer option is to stay in just enough. And that's why you see people in financial need, like times that I've been in financial need, like I need to make this money to get this apartment to do X, Y, and Z. Anytime there's a financial need, that's when things usually start happening quicker, right? Because you don't have as much to lose. You're ready to just take action and solve the problem. But is asking for overflow really a problem to solve? Or is your brain trying to like look for more problems to solve, right? So moving into overflow is actually not, it is completely different than moving from need to just enough. Moving from just enough to overflow, there's no real true motivation driving force other than your own like financial well-being and your own financial happiness, your expanded freedom to be able to fulfill your desires. But like your bills are already paid, so like is there really a rush to get there, right? Is there really a rush to be doing all of this? And so that's where you get to challenge yourself to holding yourself accountable to increasing your income. And that really truly starts with knowing what your income is. Hashtag get a bookkeeping system in your business if you don't have one already, or if you have a typical job or you only receive income through one source. Keep track of that and start opening up other income sources so that money can start to show up. Because when we stay in just enough and we're not asking for more, what we're also doing is we're holding ourselves back from going through all of the trial and error and all of the refinement of energy that needs to happen in order for us to realize how that money wants to show up, right? Okay, what would it mean for you to fully expand into your desires? What if there was no more problems for your brain to solve? And this is something I've heard from my clients too that I just want to relay here. If you're in an income, like an area of income where you're desiring, what am I trying to say? Okay, here's what I've heard from my clients, right? My clients are typically high 6-figure, 7-figure online business owners. They are amazing young women that are creating a lot of change on this planet and making a lot of money. And I've heard this sentiment from my clients over the years that the money needs a purpose when the income is higher. And when you actually make the amount of money that in your head you feel like you want to make, if you actually have in your bank account the amount of money that you fantasize about having in your bank account, what is that overflow number for you, right? First, get clear on that. What is that overflow number for you? Is that $40,000 a month in your business? Is that a bank account with $200,000 in it, right? Like, what is that really overflow feeling for you? And then recognize that money needs to have an even deeper purpose at that level, because what happens to a lot of people is they get to the level that they were asking for so long, and then they're like, wait, why am I doing this? Why am I making this amount of money? Like, what's the purpose behind it? Like, what is it going for, right? Because after you get accustomed to having your material plane full, having the designer things you think you want to have, having the material experiences you think you want to have, you have to have a deeper driving force and a deeper motivation to stay evolved with money, to evolve with money and evolve with your soul, rather than using the money as like a regressive mechanism for your soul, right? Some people get to that level, they're like, I'm making the money I want to make, and they instantly regress and they just double down, and the greed takes over and the money takes over and the money changes them, right? That's kind of the like stereotypical trope of like what happens to people when they get rich. But I wouldn't say it's necessarily an inaccurate description of it, because a lot of people use their soul, use their character, their art, their creativity, their spirituality to reach a certain level. And then they go, oh, here it is. Okay, well, now I'm going to go over here and just make the money for the hell of it because the money is giving me this like adrenaline rush. The money is giving me this like thing that I'm looking for, this hole that I'm filling, right? So that could be the regressive path, for example. The progressive path with your soul is, okay, this money is here. Now, how am I recycling it? How am I recirculating it back out? What is the purpose behind it? When you connect your soul's purpose to the money that's coming in and you connect it to like a deeper service, that's when the channel just clears right up. It's like, oh, okay, you wanted the money for this. Oh, okay, come on, like resources allocate over here. The cash is needed for that. And I will also say that when you're thinking about how much cash you want to keep in your bank account too, thinking about that money just sitting idle, like truly cash just sitting in your bank account is just losing value. And so what does that mean to have the cash? And I want you to get behind your desire like that. What does the cash actually mean? Clearer, 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 crystal clear, crystal clear. Even clearer than you thought you could make it, right? And I'm not talking about what kind of, countertops do you want in your freaking house or something. Well, I guess it could be that. Why not? Sure, it could be that, right? But what is that deeper driving motivator? What is like this greater connection or this greater service that the money is making? And at the same time, like not ignoring your ego desires either. You just have to be motivated. What is the motivation behind the money? Because that way, when you get to that level, when you feel that peak of success start to come on, you feel that wheel of fortune start to go, you keep on with the momentum because you're motivated to keep going. And that's how you reach overflow. You don't reach overflow by going, oh, this momentum's going. Hey, that's fine. Okay. It's done now. You stop all the momentum. You're like, I just wanted to see if I could get the wheels started, right? I just wanted to see if I could do it. And now I know I can, so I'm going to do this at a different time. A lot of people do that. So also recognizing that your ego desires are an important aspect of that too. I have a defined ego in human design. My heart wants what it wants and it's going to get what it wants, right? I know that I'm going to get what I want. I am going to receive the material desire. I'm going to receive the amount of money that I want, honestly, by energetically knowing I get to receive it and feeling that knowing. But the point being that your ego gets to be satisfied too. You do get to have a full material plane. And so stop also thinking that money is like this super holy thing and you can't just go forward with your ego desires, right? So I want to wrap this up here. Let's go back to like some actionable steps that you can take this week to start moving into overflow with money. I want you to think about the places in which you've stayed stuck in just enough. Where does it feel too safe, too repetitive? Where does it feel like Groundhog Day in your life? That might be a place where you're staying in just enough rather than expanding and refining the energy and moving it into overflow. All of these things are just a simple refinement of the energy. The energy is getting clearer and clearer. We're focusing in on a microscope. We're not making it all blurry so we can't see, right? What would it mean for you to fully expand into your desire? What if there were no more problems for your brain to solve? What if there was no more problems to solve in your life? What would that mean? What is the deeper purpose behind your money? My final note here, things that I didn't say, is that the chaos keeps us distracted, just like with anything else, right? Just like if I'm having a bad day, I'm going to go smoke a bowl and watch Jersey Shore while I play around with some art, right? Just like anything else, the chaos can keep us distracted. And so creating this chaos or creating this melodrama, this emotional drama with money keeps us in this place where we don't actually need to expand because we got to deal with all these emotions first and everything, right? So what would it feel for you to not have any more problems to solve with money? And what is the motivation? What's going to keep you going to lead you into overflow? So what is that motivation with money? And that could be material things. That can be your greater service to humanity, probably a mix of both. Nothing wrong with any of that. And really feel into those answers and really feel into what that means for you. What do the answers to those questions mean for you, and how you're going to wake up the next morning and take action towards your desires. Take action towards what you want. Energetically set the blueprint for what you want, and then move into it through your motivation. Thank you so much for being here for the first video of the Money Channel. I love you guys so much. Please feel free to screenshot this, share this on Instagram, and please tag me at luxombabe, Luxombabe. Listen to my podcast, the New Earth Economics podcast, on Apple and Spotify, and connect with me and my other offers. I would love to get to know you guys more. And I look forward to seeing all of your posts on Instagram so that we can really get to know who's in this community as well.